Hell's Angel sees a grandma sharing a small bun with her grandchildren. What happened next shocked everyone. Rain-slicked city streets at dawn. A lone motorcycle growls through the fog. The camera lingers on leather, tattoos, and a weathered Hell's Angels patch. Slow, haunting piano music begins. In a world where appearances often write the story before the truth ever gets a chance, kindness sometimes hides behind the most unlikely faces. This is the story of Michael Crowe, a man whose name once struck fear into the hearts of those who knew it, a former Hell's Angel, a man with scars on his knuckles and shadows in his eyes. But on one cold, gray morning, everything changed. An elderly grandmother sits on a damp bench, wrapped in a threadbare coat. Two small children huddle close, shivering slightly. She breaks a single plain bun into 3 uneven pieces. She didn't say a word, not because she had nothing to say, but because there was no energy left to speak, just enough love to divide what little she had. Michael saw them from across the street. He slowed his bike. Something in that quiet act, the way she handed the biggest piece to the youngest child, pierced through years of armor he'd built around his heart. Young Michael, maybe 8 years old, sitting on a floor with an empty pantry behind him, his little brother beside him, stomach growling. He knew that hunger, not the kind that comes from skipping a meal, but the kind that hollows you out from the inside. The kind that lingers long after your stomach stops growling because your soul is still starving. He pulled over. People on the street flinched. A shopkeeper quickly pulled his door shut, but Michael didn't care this time. He walked, slowly, deliberately, toward the bench. The grandmother looked up, eyes wide but not afraid, just tired. Without a word, he placed every bill in his wallet, crumpled, weathered notes on the bench beside her. Then he turned to leave. But then the little boy coughed. The boy, pale, wrapped in a thin sweater. The cough echoes faintly. That sound, it wasn't just a cough. It was a ghost. The ghost of Michael's own little brother, taken too soon by illness and poverty, back when Michael was still just a scared kid in a broken home. He froze, turned back, and in that moment the past and the present collided. Michael strides into a nearby bakery. Warm light spills onto the wet sidewalk. He returns with bags, loaves of fresh bread, pastries, warm rolls, cartons of milk. He didn't ask their names, didn't wait for thanks. He simply said, "Eat," and then he walked away. But something had already shifted. Neighbors see what happened. A woman brings a coat. A man offers bus fare. A teenager gives the kids gloves. One act, that's all it took. One man, hardened by life, choosing to remember his own pain so he could ease someone else's. Word spread fast. People called him the angel with the devil's jacket. But Michael didn't want fame. In fact, he disappeared for weeks. No one saw him. Then, quietly, anonymously, food started showing up at local shelters, winter coats, toys at Christmas, always with no name attached, but those who knew, they knew. Cut to Michael, months later, serving soup at a shelter. His beard is trimmed, his eyes softer. Redemption doesn't roar, it whispers. It shows up in the silence between choices, between walking past and stopping, between forgetting your pain and letting it heal someone else. The grandmother never saw Michael again, but every morning she told her grandchildren the story of the man with tattoos and tears in his eyes, who gave them more than food. He gave them hope. And every night those children say a quiet prayer, not just for food or warmth, but for second chances. Nighttime. Michael stands alone on a bridge looking out over the city. He pulls a small hand-drawn card from his pocket, a thank you note from the boy, misspelled but full of heart. "Thank you, Angel." We all wear masks, some made of makeup, some of money,
some of muscle and metal, but beneath every surface beats a heart capable of love. Maybe you've been that grandmother, giving your last piece, hoping no one notices your emptiness. Maybe you've been that child, cold, hungry, wondering if anyone sees you. Or maybe you've been Michael, afraid that your past defines your future. But here's the truth. Kindness doesn't care what you've done. It only asks what you'll do next. If this story moved you, like this video, comment where you're watching from, share it with someone who needs hope today. Subscribe to ACA Story Tales for more real-life stories of courage, compassion, and second chances. Because in a world that's quick to judge, we choose to believe in transformation. Thanks for watching.